All
Let
good.
me yawn real quick. All right. Starting.
Oh, I gotta yawn. Hold on a fucking minute.
You're welcome.
Ugh, son of a bitch. Out of fucking Coke cans.
Yeah,
Sad.
got our cold open there. Save that.
I don't think I have any. Okay, I have caffeine, but it's a Red Bull. I'm not drinking a Red Bull at 11:15. What am I, fucking 16 years old again? Welcome back, everyone, once again to a new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Ron.
How's it been going, dude? Find yourself on any haunted submarines lately?
I feel like I've been on a haunted submarine. We've been flipping some rooms in our house and buying furniture and building entertainment centers. And then Monday was a holiday, and then Tuesday was a snow day. So my kids didn't go to school until Wednesday. So when you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch the movie so we can record," I was like, "Fuck, I forgot what day it is."
Yeah, we specifically said, "Hey, we're gonna watch. We're gonna have the movie watched so we can record on Thursday." And then Ron had no fucking idea
Thursday
which day
was
of the week
Tuesday
it was.
to me.
So that was useful.
Yeah, that was great. And then I was like knee deep in building this entertainment center, so I was like, "Yep, that's not happening."
Did you get all of your shit organized, or is it still a work in progress?
It is still a work in progress, but the entertainment center is built, and I am screwing it into the wall tomorrow. And then we
Hot.
can, after that, the treadmill goes downstairs, and that's the two things holding us up right now. We can finish it up pretty quick after that.
How heavy is that treadmill? Because treadmills are
Pretty fucking
pain.
heavy. And
Yeah.
it's heavy on one end. You know, the motor is at the front, and that's where everything is. The top part is just tube steel. So 2 screws on each side, and that whole top part just comes off, and it's hollow. It doesn't weigh anything.
So you had to like disassemble it to get it down.
Yeah, because it's not going to fit through the door. I had to assemble it up there.
Yeah.
Me and Dad, it's always been up there. And me and Dad had a hell of a time getting it up the stairs to begin with. And then
I
now
imagine.
we got to move it down the stairs. So, yeah.
Fun.
But
Fun.
yeah, some interesting changes coming though, because that room's gonna be set up and it's gonna be fun. And then the office, I'm moving this credenza out, and I've got a couch on the way for in here, and I'm gonna hook up my computer to this TV in here. So if we're passing the controller back and forth on Dark Souls or something, we can sit a little bit more comfortably. And if we're streaming or something, I can just set up a camera.
Hell yeah. I've been wanting to come over and do like another, not
We're too
too
old
drunk
for drunk. We're too old for
Yeah,
Drunk Souls.
I will die. I will end up fucking haunting your office like Captain Winters, dude. But just a stream to fuck around on Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something. I've been wanting to. I've been addicted to Lobos Jr.'s Dark Souls randomizer streams.
Yes.
That's pretty much what I do in my. I feel like watching something, but I don't feel like concentrating on an actual show or movie. So I just put on Lobos Jr. right now, and that's kind of how I've been passing the time.
So what I've been doing is I speed ran all of his speed runs. I put them all in my watch later and just turned it on, and they're all the same run, right? He's doing the same route and everything. But I've been kind of having them on in the background and looking over to see what the boss is and watch the boss fight. And then I just kind of listen to it the rest of the time. Occasionally he'll have a reaction that I need to back it up, see what I missed. But that's what I did. And then I got caught up. So now I'm like, well, fuck. I'm caught up to his current stuff.
I find it fun watching them just to see like where he gets his weapon for the run, whether it be like a vendor or just a random drop, because that's always fun. You know, it's kind of like when you hit the jackpot and he finds like at one point he was blocked in an area by a giant rat, I think, and then he
killed it because right.
Something, but somewhere he got blocked by a giant rat or a giant cat. One of the big things that just like completely block you from being able to get around it.
So the interesting thing about both of those enemies is they try to go home. So they will just block doors and says they won't attack. They're trying to leash back home where they should be.
Interesting.
And so they will just sit there and block doors that they don't fit in and stuff. And then he'll be chased by black knights and shit. And they're blocking the door, trying to walk. The cats do it every time. The cats try to get back to Darkroot.
Yeah, but he was blocked by one of the giant things, and he was forced to kill it, and it dropped one of like the best weapons. It was pretty cool, like the blacksmith giant hammer.
Nice.
I like how we went 4 minutes and we're already talking about fucking Dark Souls.
Right. Have you seen his PB yet? Like an hour 14 or something.
Yeah, I saw that one. It was like a couple episodes back where it was like hour 12.
It was like all gargoyles and capras with the Chaos Fury sword, the Quelaag Fury sword or something.
I didn't realize that thing was that good. Like I never really
I've used it
to use it. But it's fucking good.
Yeah, I've used it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we gotta figure out a time to stream it or something soon because I've been jonesing for it.
Wait until he finally gets Artorias to work, because Artorias will crash the game if he replaces a regular enemy. If he replaces a boss, he's fine. So Lobos went in and clicked the checkbox to put Artie back in. And then for like 6 runs, everyone's like, man, we haven't seen Artie yet. And then he went and showed on stream that he's turned on. And that's when people were like, oh, you didn't do it right. So all this time we've been looking for Artie, and Lobos didn't even set up the randomizer right. So he wasn't even in it to begin with.
Nice.
So as soon as he fixes it, they'd run into Artie in the best possible place.
No spoilers.
With all the lore implications. It's great.
No spoilers.
All the spoilers.
All right, let's talk about. We'll probably talk about Dark Souls again at some point this episode, but let's transition over to our usual way we start the show off every week, or every episode, I should say. God, I'm also super tired today because I've been trying to cut back a little bit on caffeine. Because I have been drinking way too much fucking caffeine the past few months.
Bad move. Always increase caffeine intake.
Increase caffeine. Okay. Must go faster.
Must go faster. If Futurama taught me anything, enough caffeine turns you into the Flash.
Well, shit. I have to tap into the Speed Force at some point for the last few months. Fuck.
What is it? The 1,000 cups of coffee or whatever?
Yeah. I think so. Before we get to our movie coverage, every episode we start off the show by reviewing our questions and comments from prior episodes. So, Ron, why don't you kick us off some questions and comments?
I've got 3 on the YouTube.
Okay.
Let's see. Starting with the oldest stuff. The first 2 are from the ever enigmatic intern Bobby.
And Anime Thief. He just stole all of your anime.
And even the shelves. Yeah. He was about as effective as the Grinch. This is left on, both of these are left on Nosferatu. Huddle around me, I will comfort you, he says.
What was that in response to?
I have no idea.
I don't remember at all.
And then the next one is equally enigmatic and distressing, maybe? Probably Das Boot and Down Periscope.
So that was when we were asking him what his favorite submarine movie was.
Das Boot.
And I unfortunately have not seen Das Boot. I need to. That's like the ultimate submarine movie, but I just haven't seen it.
And then Down Periscope. Down Periscope's a fucking amazing movie.
I don't know if I've ever seen all of it. I think I've only seen like bits and pieces of it.
Oh, it's so good.
I might have seen all of it. Fuck, dude. There's so many fucking movies that I watched as like between the ages of like 10 and 13 where I would just watch everything my like parents would watch because, you know, you're a kid and that was before the age of fucking Zoomer tablets and shit and streaming services. So you just like, oh, your parents are watching this horrible fucking sitcom. I guess that's what I'm doing tonight, you know? So I have seen so many terrible TV shows and so many movies that I have no fucking memory of because I was just forced to watch it and I didn't want to. So there's so much that I've seen that I just have no fucking memory of.
Down Periscope's good. I might add that to our podcast someday.
Okay.
Especially if we're gonna keep the submarine stuff flowing.
Submarine movies are good.
Left on Kung Fu Hustle a mere 3 days ago.
These scare me because Kung Fu Hustle has
it's a beast.
Kung Fu Hustle has almost 60,000 views, which is the equivalent of 10 million for us.
Yeah.
So that upload scares me. Shocking amount of likes though.
Shocking.
Like for us, like crazy amounts of likes. People have bad taste.
This comment simply says WTF ? I don't know if that's I feel like that moment in The Martian when he's like, do you think he's like, what the fuck? Or like, what the fuck? Right?
To me, it comes across as the 27th comment of, hey, this Kung Fu Hustle upload that's been on YouTube for like 8 months isn't the movie.
Hey, where's the movie?
I'm mad.
Oh, God. No held comments, unfortunately. Those are my favorite.
Guys, it's like $3 to rent. Just rent the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Please. Or don't. I don't care. Fuck off.
I'm trying to imagine in 2025 going to YouTube to find a full movie. I am sad Twilight didn't do more because we started getting these on Twilight and dislikes, and then all of a sudden that just kind of petered out. And I told you when I looked at the statistics for that on YouTube, it was suggesting us at the end of the actual movie Twilight. So people were watching Twilight, and then at the end, you may also like Screenplay Rewind Twilight. Which is one of the funniest goddamn things I've ever seen. That's the snake eating its tail at that point.
Recommending us after actually having watched Twilight, it is the most insult to injury thing I've ever heard of.
Oh, man.
That always makes me laugh, though. Like, I about fucking died laughing when you told me that the actual movie was suggesting.
The algorithm is just like, hey, check out these idiots talking about your movie.
That's probably been like the entire cottage industry of Twilight ever since it was a thing. It's just people complaining about it because like it has a fan base, but the things that does the fucking numbers on YouTube is just people complaining about it and making fun of it. So it's like, I don't know. Fucking Twilight.
Fucking Twilight.
And then our fucking quote unquote friends and family all tried to have the conspiracy of making us watch nothing but Twilight for a month. Fucking assholes. Maybe turn this fucking podcast around.
I will walk out of this podcast. Oh, man. Good times.
I guess that's coming up in a couple months. Don't we usually do like friends and family shit in like April?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know. March or April, whenever we feel like it.
Yeah. Never.
Never again.
You said that was the last of our comments?
That was all of them.
All right. Well, I thank the commenter for falling into our trap again.
They triggered our trap card.
The Kung Fu Hustle upload that is not the movie. Shocker. But yeah, thanks everyone who keeps clicking on that, thinking it's the movie and giving us hits. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
If you have a question or comment for Ron and myself that you would like to discuss,
or if you would like to ask
episode,
why it's not the movie,
WTF! Exclamation point. You can always drop us a comment in the YouTube comment section or email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com. You can also send us a message on Twitter at SPR Filmcast, but I'm venturing. I probably will never delete the SPR one, but I've gotten to the point of almost wanting to delete my Twitter account just because I'm fucking tired of it.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't delete it. It's still there, but I just don't log in.
Yeah. It's a bummer. I fucking hate. This is a very like Scrooge episode for me. I guess it's because I'm grumpy, lack of caffeine.
Humbug.
I've always been irritated the last couple of years. It's like I hate social media, and the one social media platform I always liked was Twitter, and that's the one that got like fucked the worst.
Yeah,
it's really depressing to me, but it's probably for the best because I need to spend less time pointlessly scrolling through nonsense. So
yeah, I've gotten to the point I stopped reaching for my phone finally because I deleted the apps and stuff, but I would still for a couple of weeks, whenever I'm not doing anything, just reach for my phone and be like, "Oh,
it's a reflex, man.
It really is."
Like, it really is. Someone had a really good suggestion. I forget who it was, but they had the idea of, in order to kind of get yourself out of that habit, keep like a book around you or like comics or something, and every time you get the itch to like just like to mindlessly scroll on a social media platform, like read, and then try to like transition your brain away from pointlessly doom scrolling and shit to actually, just reading something that, will be a better use of your time.
So what's interesting about that is I did that for a while, actually, before I quit Twitter and everything. I was just trying to do it less. And instead of doom scrolling on Twitter, what I did was on the Kindle app, I have the complete collection of H.P. Lovecraft's work. So I was just doom scrolling in there, reading about other people's doom.
You were just experimenting with 1920s racism instead of 2020 racism.
Like it really wasn't that different.
We don't take too kindly to your Innsmouth kind around here.
Weirdly, there was fewer Cthulhu's in the H.P. Lovecraft stuff than there was on Twitter.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
maybe they also got nuked by Kristen Stewart.
I was like, man, I need to download a different book.
Yeah, maybe if I do delete my Twitter, though, my final tweet will be WTF exclamation point, and then I'll just log off for the final time. All right, Ron, you want to talk about some fucking submarine haunted house bullshit shenanigans?
This movie's interesting. For a haunted house, haunted ship, ghost ship type situation, it's an interesting movie, the way it's done.
It's super cool.
It's really good.
Spoilers for the movie below.
Spoilers for the 23-year-old movie.
Yeah, it is from 2002, I believe.
Yes.
And is the one directed by David Twohy. I believe if you search below, there's like several movies that have used this title, so just to clarify. We will have full spoilers for that one. And yeah, I stumbled upon this movie probably like 15 years ago. I think it was recommended on do you remember the you should know it like indirectly from Jeff from Rage Select, but the channel that he was on before he spun off with Jason to create Rage Select, the Spill website. Do you remember that being a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to listen to their podcasts, and I believe it was one from Corey and Cargill where they had recommended this, where I first heard about it, and kind of like just underrated, horror movies. Because this is interesting. It's like you don't get very many like genre film, like especially set in like World War II. It's like a period piece genre film on a submarine. It's super cool.
Yeah, it's a ghost ship war movie.
Yeah, it's a very, very cool kind of collage of these different kind of genre tropes. Like you get, like some of your kind of like intensity where they're getting chased by the submarine. So you get like some of your like Crimson Tide kind of classic submarine stuff in here. And then you have moments where it's just a fucking haunted house that's at the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
And the setting of it is just so unique, and it lends itself so well for like this type of story they're wanting to tell. It's super cool. And this was I think one that you just first heard of a few weeks ago when we talked about it during Crimson Tide.
Yes. Yeah, I'd never heard of this movie, and then you apparently brought it up. I added it to my list, and then fast forward like a couple of weeks later, I was like, "What is this movie in my list? I don't know this movie. What the fuck is this?"
You should really try to sleep more, Ron.
Nah, I'm good.
I just get the idea of you like losing your shit, just like shining your boots and like shaving and just kind of like freaking out like Bruce Greenwood in this movie.
Oh, dude, Bruce Greenwood's so good. It's been a while since I've seen him.
Bruce Greenwood
Underrated.
is so awesome in every single thing he's ever been in. I wish he was in more stuff.
Yes.
It's for people that don't know him by name, you'll know him as primarily like as Pike from the Star Trek movies from J.J. Abrams. I would say it's probably like his most famous. I'm looking back through his IMDb. Oh, he was so good in that the Fall of the House of Usher show from Mike Flanagan.
I never saw it.
That it's super good.
He is the red herring character in iRobot.
I haven't seen iRobot in like 20 years. I barely remember what was the.
They set him up to look like the villain, and then spoilers for iRobot. They set him up to look like the villain, and then they find him dead, murdered. So it's not him.
Or
he's
a ghost.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I'm glad he kind of fell in lately with Mike Flanagan, because he was in Doctor Sleep and he had him in The Fall of the House of Usher. Because like Mike Flanagan, like when he gets people that he likes, he just works with them fucking constantly. The Oculus guy and like Haunting of Hill House, like he repeatedly has recurring actors he works with. So I will take more Bruce Greenwood in all of the upcoming Mike Flanagan shit, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's
any way I can get more Bruce Greenwood.
Also, more Bruce Greenwood as Batman is always appreciated because he's a fucking awesome Batman. All right. So our kind of basic plot line here is it's the crew of a U.S. Navy submarine in World War II rescues survivors from a sunken ship, only to face a series of mysterious deaths and supernatural occurrences.
Maledictions.
Maledictions.
Look it up.
So we will get to the rest of the cast here in a second, but we're going to start off with our director. Did you happen to see what else this guy had done? Because this is the Pitch Black guy.
It's the Pitch Black guy. That's what it says at the beginning of the trailer every time. Yeah.
He also wrote and directed another movie that I believe you are very, very fond of. Did you know he also did A Perfect Getaway?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think that was one you actually let me borrow a long time ago, right? Wasn't that like a long time ago that you got me to watch?
I believe so. It was loaned to me, then I believe I loaned it to you.
Yeah, because I remember being intrigued by it, but never got around to watching it, and it was actually one that you...
Did you ever figure out I was quoting that movie? You used to get so mad at me.
What was the... I don't remember.
Is that that's the one I'm thinking of, right? Yeah. I kept instead of red herring, I kept saying red snapper because that's what he keeps saying in the movie. And I'm pretty sure it's red herring. He's like, no, it's red snapper. And I would use the term red snapper, and you would get so mad and correct me.
I if it was a reference to it, I probably had forgotten that it was a reference to it.
Because God, I can see his face. He what the fuck is his name? The guy that's in Perfect Getaway.
Either Timothy Oliphant or Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn keeps correcting Oliphant. Oliphant keeps saying red snapper. It's like, no, the term is red herring. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's red snapper. And I would intentionally use that term because I found out somehow I used it one time in reference to this movie, and you got so mad. So for a little bit, we have a few recordings of you throwing that in there and you angrily correcting me. It was
well, I do angrily correct a lot of things in the podcast, to be fair.
So
that's kind of the shtick.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with that movie.
I mean, to be fair, I might have been like thinking you weren't remembering what you were quoting because you did just forget this movie existed when we talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Well, it is an extremely underrated movie, so
yeah, it is. Yes, this is David Twohy, who is the co-writer and director of this. He is, I guess, the kind of like the creator of Riddick as a character because he wrote the original Pitch Black movie and then pretty much was involved in every one of the sequels, it looks like. I never saw that last one that was just called Riddick. I need to just to kind of like...
Yeah, I never saw it either.
Finish out the, like the series, but... Yeah, I always liked the Pitch Black movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're pretty
Pitch
cool.
Black is on my short list to do soon on this podcast.
Yeah, I like specifically with Pitch Black the kind of like it's almost like a genre twist to it, like the way that it just kind of like pivots into being it's almost like this like weird kind of sci-fi westerny type of vibe, and then it just turns into a horror movie all of a sudden. It's kind of cool. I always like that about it.
To me, it always felt like a shipwreck movie, right? I mean, not just because literally a spaceship crashes, but like any shipwreck movie where they're trapped on an island and there's some animal hunting them. Like it's that, but a sci-fi version of it.
Yeah, and they have like what made me kind of like think like sci-fi western almost is like they're a very like gritty science fiction that isn't kind of like obtuse and kind of like fake. It's like Firefly. Like Firefly is like very down to earth sci-fi. It makes me think of that kind of vibe to it.
The other thing that's interesting about this movie and Pitch Black, this movie is very literally claustrophobic. Like it's set on a submarine. Submarine has no power, and then it does have power, and it's out of control, and they're trapped on it, however deep, right? So it's literally they are stranded, and everything is claustrophobic, and like the walls closing in. Pitch Black does that out in the open with the darkness. It is so dark, and you only have the light you're carrying with you. And it is somehow ironically just as claustrophobic as this movie with the way they do light in that movie.
Exactly.
It's really it seems like Pitch Black came after this movie, right?
This was after Pitch Black.
This was after Pitch Black. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was actually interesting.
Oh yeah, 2 years. Pitch Black came out 2 years earlier.
I found this on the Wikipedia page. This was actually just written as a historical sci-fi thriller, and then when Tui got like control of the script when he was going to be creating the movie, actually like retooled the movie into being more of a horror film, which is interesting.
But
so
it's
like
not really. That's the other interesting thing.
Yeah. We'll definitely get into it because it actually follows like similarly to something we talked about like a few weeks ago, where it's like the ghost aspect of it actually isn't really the bad guy.
Yeah,
which is cool. I always like that. It always works on me.
It's a little Crimson Peak in that way.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. How it was kind of like switched into being more of a horror movie than it originally was. They also apparently were really wanting this to be edited to get a PG-13 rating, and to refuse to re-edit it. So Dimension gave the film a limited theatrical release with little advertising because it was going to be rated R, which sucks because it made the movie.
What makes this movie rated R? Why the R rating?
It's got to be some of the like victims from the shit that happens, like the when everyone is
like the burning,
burned really bad, and there's multiple like.
There's not even a lot of language in this movie. There's some, but not a lot.
There's some of like the head wounds are pretty brutal, like when people get hit in the head.
I think that happens once, and it's. I guess they do linger on it a few seconds.
Yeah, there's like the dude who's about to kill the main guy, and he gets fucked up when he falls to his death, and then the guy later. It's probably just specifically the scene with the burn people. I would say is the most like disturbing part of the movie.
Yeah.
So if they were wanting to like cut that, because to me that is the most like haunting part of the movie is them walking through all the burn victims. It's very disturbing, and we'll talk about it. But like the lead up to that is super cool because it's very like low key when they just kind of like walk out and realize what happened.
Yeah,
super good.
When he says it's warm,
it's so good.
Oh my god.
So David Tui had co-written this. The original writing team from when it was more of just a sci-fi thriller is from Darren Aronofsky, that people will know from stuff like Black Swan and The Wrestler and Requiem for a Dream. Have you ever seen a Darren Aronofsky movie?
No.
It's just stuff's very fucking weird. This is probably his work that I like the best because it's not just him being fucking nuts.
Yeah, I hear people talk about his work all the time, but this is the only thing I've seen.
His other thing that I've really been wanting to watch is actually have you heard of The Whale?
I've heard of it.
That is the one that Brendan Fraser won the Oscar for Best Actor for.
That's what
I've
I
been
was
curious
thinking.
about that one because I want to see Brendan Fraser's performance in that. That's kind of been one that's been driving me to that. Specifically, though, he just directed that. It's specifically when he is writing and directing together that his shit is fucking bonkers. Like, really, really off the wall. Like, Black Swan's fucking bad shit.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Very weird. And Lucas Sussman is the other co-writer with Aronofsky on the original version of the script. Very sus indeed. Yeah, so let's start talking about the rest of the cast. It's pretty much Bruce Greenwood and 1,000 people you've seen in things that you will not be able to pick out what you've seen them in, and it will drive you crazy.
And at this point in time, is Bruce Greenwood one of those people also? In 2002?
Pretty much. Like, in retrospect, he's Bruce Greenwood and is easily like the most like recognizable person in the cast. But back then, like he hadn't been in Star Trek, hadn't been, kind of popping up in, stuff more kind of like rapidly. Were you also constantly checking IMDb as you were watching this movie, trying to figure out where you've seen these people? Because I was doing that the entire time.
I was doing that and had to back up because I missed one of the jump scares.
Oh, which one was that?
It was the well, I didn't miss it. I thought it was part of the music. I didn't realize it was part of the sound design. It's when they are in between the hull layers and you hear the thudding. That jump scare and everyone freaks out. I was like, what I miss? And I back it up. And in my mind, the thuds were not knocking on the hull. They were part of the music. So I actually backed it up a second time before I realized they're reacting to the thudding.
Gotcha.
Because I was like, what? I missed it. How did I miss it again? And I backed it up. I was like, oh.
Dude, that shit gets me because when you're in a submarine down there, that's got to be the scariest shit in the world. You think every little thing that hits the hull is just going to blow up the fucking ship. Like, that'd be me. I know eventually you get used to it, but at first that's got to be everyone's reaction of like, every time some little fucking thing scrapes against the hull, we're all going to die.
Like, it has to do some kind of psychic damage to everybody on board, right?
For sure.
Like, it has, because you're basically just trapped in a dark tunnel, right? There's no doors, there's no windows, there's no nothing. You're completely isolated. You know where you are, and you just hear this knocking every once in a while.
Yeah, they have a conversation at one point with Bruce Greenwood's character Bryce and Olivia Williams' character Claire, where he's, sometimes he's able to pinpoint like what the sound is because they just hear it enough and they can kind of like logically, assume like what a certain sound is. But when he talks about like sometimes you never figure out what it is. It's like super good.
There's a really
the ocean's so fucking scary, dude. Because like
the ocean's like the scariest thing about Earth. There's a really good moment in the movie when they're talking to the chief of the boat, and then you just hear this awful moaning and groaning throughout the hull, and they both look at him, and he's like, "I don't have a fucking clue." Like,
dude, the fucking
if they don't know, this is their job. If they don't know what they're hearing, like, Jesus,
dude, the fucking hooks.
Is that a real thing? I've never seen that in a movie before.
I've never heard of that, but that makes sense that it would be a thing. That's fucked up, man.
That is fucked up.
You want to know what it made me think of?
What?
Is in fucking Game of Thrones, the giant ass signs that are on the side of the wall. And then they use it, and then my immediate reaction back then was like, that's a thing? And I'm watching this with the fucking hooks, because I watched this like 15, 16 years ago. I remember it was World War II submarine spooky, and that was the extent of what I remember. Oh, and Bruce Greenwood.
Yeah.
That was the extent of what I remembered. So when the hooks came out, I was like, that's a thing? Fuck that, dude.
When he was like, what the hell am I hearing? And then it cuts to them coming at the camera. I was like, well, fuck that. What the hell am I seeing? And then it hits the submarine. I was like, oh God.
It's
It's like a cat of nine tails for a submarine.
It's fucked up, dude. Also, just while we're on the topic, the scene when like the explosive charge thing is
bouncing down the side. Oh my God.
And it's a cool shot because they're cutting back and forth between like the top of the sub, and it tracks across the submarine.
Yeah.
As it's just bouncing over the hull over and over and over again, and you track above while you're watching the explosive charge thing, and the people inside looking up at it as they're kind of like, you know, as it cuts across the ship, and you know where people are at various spots inside the ship. It's super cool.
Yeah, what it reminds me of is like I've had people over before to work on like my furnace, which is in the attic. And you can hear exactly where they're walking in the ceiling, right? And my dog, Shepherd, back when he could hear, back when he was alive, number one, and number two, when he could hear, he would just look up at the ceiling and just follow along on the ground underneath them the entire time.
Tracking them.
Yeah, like he knew that wasn't right. That's what it reminded me of, is this barrel, this depth charge. It's just rolling down the hall, and you keep seeing places where it could get stuck, and you just keep waiting for it to go off, and you're just like, oh my God.
It's really intense. I feel like some of the scenes in here had to have been like a callback to actual historical events.
Yeah, I could see that.
Especially since it was originally designed to be more of a like
tall
historical
tales told by sailors from the era, something.
Yeah, since it was originally supposed to be more historically, kind of based instead of being more of like a horror movie. I imagine they researched the shit out of this and actually kind of like base some of the stuff off certain stories, just like with Crimson Tide. That's the thing. It's like, but here's some fucked up stories for people that actually like worked on submarines. It's just like very, very bizarre thing that people actually do. So it's so fucking fascinating to me. It's like, I think it's partially like why I'm always so drawn to submarine movies.
It's the closest thing you and I will ever get in our lifetime to getting on a spaceship and going out into space. Right. Is a submarine in the ocean. Yeah.
But at the same time, more scary than outer space, because like you literally have
I'd
better
go to
visibility.
Mars before I'd go to the bottom of the ocean, I think.
Exactly. At least you can fucking see outside the ship and see kind of like what's going on out there. You don't see shit underneath the ocean, dude. It's like, dude, when they go outside the ship and start swimming to go do that oil leak repair, fuck a lot of that, man.
Dude.
Fuck a lot of that.
I was like, okay, first off, that's a thing. I was like, then second off, I was like, I didn't realize we had that kind of diving equipment in World War II. And then thirdly, I was like, they don't even have like pressure suits or anything. Like, how deep are we?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But yeah, that was nuts. Also, I love how we never really get confirmation that the job was done. When he
just kind of like says like, yeah, whatever, like, yeah, it's done.
He's just like, yeah, whatever. And then he looks at Zach Galifianakis and he's just like, is it done? He's like, yeah, I'm done. He doesn't say the job is done. He says, I'm done.
Yeah, I would be too.
This is a weird role for Zach Galifianakis, by the way.
I think he's pretty good in this.
He's pretty good.
He has the
Benny necklace of all of the different charms.
Yeah, he's like the goofy character, but he's not.
He's not Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, he's not his level.
Yes, I tried to say.
He's not his like future Hangover level of zany that became like his entire career.
Yeah,
he's just acting and then acting goofy. And he's really good at this. I like it.
It's as weird as hearing Bobcat Goldthwait talk normal. Because he dropped that shtick a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's seeing him in this, knowing that he's the guy that does Between Two Ferns. It's just weird. Right. It's just odd.
It's odd, but he is good.
It's like watching The Jackal and seeing Jack Black not be Jack Black. Like it's real strange.
Yeah, because when the people become so like singularly them later on in a very specific way, that's what you associate with them. And you go back and watch older shit. It's just like fucking Goldblum in Body Snatchers, like we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like nothing like Goldblum at all.
Yeah, post Jurassic Park Goldblum is very different than pre Jurassic Park Goldblum.
Yeah, for sure. We also have Matthew Davis. He's the main dude. What's his character's name?
Odell.
Odell. I figured out what I recognized him in, and I had an ex-girlfriend who was super into the Vampire Diaries, and I watched a little bit of that back in the day when that was a thing, like 20 years ago.
Well, he's only in 123 episodes. How could you ever catch him in that?
Yeah, only. And his name in that show sounds more like a sailor's name, Alaric Saltzman. Just
Alaric.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck have I seen him in? And it was that.
Oh shit, he's in Blood Rain. I love that movie.
Scrolling.
I'm the one.
Yeah, you are it is a 3 rating on IMDb, so you are the one.
Yeah.
I can't look at him without he looks so much like Tom Brady to me, where I was just like, oh, what's Sailor Tom Brady up to this time when I was watching this?
There are times in this movie with the camera angle and the lighting and the shadow and stuff. What's the Billy Zane? He looks a little Billy Zane in certain scenes in this movie.
I could see that, especially 90s Billy Zane.
Yeah,
like
the Phantom.
Phantom Billy Zane. Yeah, I could see that.
Phantom and Titanic Billy Zane.
Dude, okay. In the 90s, back before we had like superhero movies all the time, I remember being a little kid. I watched The Phantom and The Shadow a lot when I probably shouldn't have, because especially like The Shadow has some like fucked up shit, like for like a 5-year-old to be watching. But like my parents just like, whatever.
We should go back to those movies. I never really watched The Phantom. My dad did. We watched The Shadow quite a bit. I barely remember it now at this point. I remember really liking it.
Yeah, I liked The Shadow more than I liked The Phantom, but I watched them both a lot. You know what scene in The Shadow always like sticks out of my mind is it's an intense scene where like he's stuck inside something that's like filling up with water, and he's having to like breathe through the bullet holes in the side of the container thing he's in. Do you remember that scene?
No.
But yeah, it's super intense, and I think partially because I'm scared of water because I can't swim very well. That freaked me out, where he's like almost drowning, but then has to like breathe through the bullet holes in the side of I think it's like a silo or some shit. I don't even remember what the context of it is, but yeah.
Yeah, the thing I remember is the dagger, like the psychically controlled dagger.
That's how they open the movie, right? I think that's the first scene.
I remember the back and forth, the like force pushing and pulling that dagger or something. Yeah, that's about all I really remember about that movie.
I remember Jeff Goldblum, like when he turns into the Shadow, he has like the giant eyebrow prosthetic things, like to make it look more like the Shadow in the comic. Pretty cool.
Jeff Goldblum. Wait, I think I'm thinking of Alec Baldwin, right?
Alec Baldwin. Sorry.
I was like, I think I'm thinking of a different movie, Jeff.
Dude, not. Can we get the Shadow with Goldblum, because I watched the fuck out of that. Another guy in this that I really, really like is the guy who plays Loomis, Holt McElhaney.
Yes, he is another alum from our podcast, right? Because didn't we do The Losers?
Yes. My favorite thing from him was Mindhunter. Did you ever watch Mindhunter with him and Jonathan Groff?
No.
Mindhunter is the Netflix show that was about the two 1970s FBI agents that are investigating serial killers. And it's Jonathan Groff and Holt McElhaney, and they're fucking awesome in that show. And I love that show. It was from David Fincher, the guy who made Seven.
Okay.
Such a good fucking show. And unfortunately, it got kind of like I don't know if it's officially canceled, but it's on like hiatus because I think they stopped wanting to give Fincher giant budgets for TV shows on there, because they had like a huge budget for that, because it's pretty much just budgeted like a fully produced movie, but really fucking good show.
So
and, I like Holt McElhaney.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. What were you saying?
A thought just occurred to me. I'm looking at his IMDb, and he's apparently uncredited in the Justice League movie from 2017. And I got to thinking, since we now have like what's his fuck as the Hulk, and we have Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. All these CGI characters. What would you think about Holt? How do you say that? McElhenney?
McElhaney.
McElhaney. What did you think about him if he was Juggernaut? If they gave him the Hulk treatment to make him Juggernaut?
I could see it.
I'm sorry, if they made him the Juggernaut bitch.
I can't believe we put that in the fucking movie.
Dude, everyone makes fun of that. I fucking love that line so much.
It's wild. That movie is fucking nuts.
That movie's so good.
I don't hate it as much as everyone else does, but that movie has some dumb parts to it.
The movie's great.
It has some good parts to it, but
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. They had that perfect guy playing Juggernaut too. Fucking Sphinx.
Yeah. Fucking what's that dude's name? I'm blanking.
I just know him as Sphinx from Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I gotta look it up.
Yeah, I think he would be. I think he's got the voice and the face for it.
He's super underrated.
He really is. Yeah. I think my favorite thing in his IMDb is still The Losers of what I've seen, because
you should watch Mindhunter, dude. I think you'd dig Mindhunter. It's really good.
He's in A Perfect Getaway also.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he's the police lieutenant. It says.
Vinnie Jones. That's the Juggernaut.
Yeah,
dude.
there we go.
That was killing me.
Sphinx. That's what I said.
That's his name.
Yeah, he in The Losers he plays Wade, and he's like really good at his job but really dumb at everything else, and he drives Max insane all the time.
Mm-hmm. I gotta watch Losers again. Such a good movie.
Dude, we should always be watching The Losers.
Yeah, we really should.
The Losers is so good. That movie makes me so sad because you can't make a sequel to it. Everyone in that movie blew up so big, you would never get the budget for it.
Fucking nuts.
You'd have to start over again.
Like the cast is so fucking ridiculous. Like the cheapest person to get is probably Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You know, like it's insane.
Dude, I need to get Rampage on here just for Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh yeah, where he's playing the government.
Oh dude, he's so good.
I like that movie quite a bit.
Which shocks me. I knew you would fucking hate it.
I don't hate all of The Rock's goofy movies. I just feel like he did too many of them. That's always been
I still hold that movie is the movie that 2014 Godzilla should have been.
Oh, absolutely, because shit actually happened in it. That was pretty cool. I appreciate when things actually happen in the movie I'm watching, you know?
Yeah, it's so good. Anyways.
Dexter Fletcher plays Kingsley. He is one of the survivors in the submarine that they pick up. Well, one of the survivors they pick up early on in the movie. I recognize this dude specifically from Band of Brothers, which I'm rewatching right now.
Okay.
I guess I've been in kind of like a World War II kick lately, so this movie fit right in. But yeah, I had no idea that dude was British because he pulls off such a convincing American accent in Band of Brothers.
The Brits are exposed to so many different accents that they can just do accents.
It's so funny how it's like a really, really rare talent when American actors can successfully pull off different accents. And then the Brits, it's just take it for granted they can do all of the accents perfectly.
Yeah.
I guess they're so much fucking better than American actors for the most part with that shit.
Yeah, except Amazing Spider-Man. What was his name? Andrew Garfield. I think he got better, but God, when he was in Doctor Who, his Tennessee accent, I wanted to shoot myself, dude.
And then you cut ahead to like Hacksaw Ridge, and
he's so good.
He's so good. Dude, like, that's another movie we should have on the podcast.
That movie, oh my God, that movie.
Hacksaw Ridge is incredible.
You know, it's funny you say that because Vince Vaughn's in that, and I think it was just yesterday. I was like, why haven't we done Old School yet? Which Vince Vaughn is also in. We need to have a Vince Vaughn-assance. Yeah, because I just watched with the kids not too long ago, The Lost World Jurassic Park, and that may be the first time I ever saw Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, that was probably, he was in Swingers with Favreau before that. That I think was like his kind of like first somewhat big role.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone in the universe saw Jurassic Park, so like, he blew up for sure off of that. Let's see. Olivia Williams plays Claire in this. You've seen her in 1,000 things. The main thing I remembered her from is I want to say she was the villain, quote unquote, lady in what was the name of that fucking Joss Whedon show? Is it Dollhouse?
I don't know.
Do you remember? Yeah. She was DeWitt in Dollhouse. That was one of the Joss Whedon shows on Fox that got canceled. You know, like all 8 of them.
Huh. Never heard of it.
That was Eliza Dushku, and yeah, it's a very weird show, but it was Joss Whedon back in the day, so I had to watch it, and then get mad when it got fucking canceled like everything else that guy ever did. But yeah, I like Olivia Williams. She's really good in this.
She's apparently also in the X-Men: The Last Stand.
Who is she in?
It says she's uncredited as Dr. Moira.
I wonder if she's one of the doctors gets like impaled by Spike Dude.
Yeah, by Sonic the Hedgehog.
But yeah, yeah.
Which is also a dude that is in everything.
Yeah. I like how Zach Galifianakis' character is literally just Weird Wally.
He's just Weird Wally with Benny's necklace.
Right.
This guy was driving me nuts too, and I didn't look him up.
Which one?
I don't have my glasses on. I'm sitting too far away. Tim Plester.
Yeah. What else has he been in? Because he looks.
I recognize he's in Game of Thrones for 6 episodes.
Black Walder Rivers
means nothing to me.
Black Walder.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling. Doctor Who, Servant, 1 episode, great. Oh,
he's one of the kids of Walder Frey, who's like in the Red Wedding.
Okay, means nothing to me.
Walder Frey is the guy, the
I
super
remember,
old dude who had like.
I remember Walder Frey. I remember the Red Wedding, but I don't remember that character like at all.
Yeah, he's just one of the sons of Walder Frey who was helping them do all the assassinations of the people.
Yeah, this is one of his earlier roles. It looks like this is like his 5th role. I have no idea. I've seen Kick-Ass. I've seen this movie, and I've seen Game of Thrones, and that's about it. So, and I've seen Doctor Who. So either I'm just recognizing him from those things, or I'm mixing him up with someone else.
Another person that you've seen in at least 10,000 things and you would never be able to figure out is Jason Fleming.
Yes.
This
guy's a chameleon.
This movie is just nothing but these fucking character actors that are in.
I probably remember
everything.
him best from Deep Rising and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's the Hulk.
I remember
the Hulk.
him. I associate him with like the early Guy Ritchie movies because he was in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And was he in Snatch? He was probably in Snatch.
Was he?
I like how this is just like fucking 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
With all these goddamn
IMDb,
actors,
the
dude.
podcast.
Okay, he was in Lock, Stock. Was Snatch 2000? Yeah, of course he was in fucking Snatch. Yeah, he's Darren in Snatch. You ever seen Snatch?
He's also in Kick-Ass. That's like 2 or 3 people that are in Kick-Ass.
It's literally 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
He's in Stardust. Holy shit.
I like Stardust.
Oh, he's in Transporter 2? Interesting.
Oh shit, he is in Stardust. Fuck, dude. I forgot about that.
Stardust is indescribable. It's like good and awful at the same time, and I'm very confused.
I really like Stardust.
Stardust is so confusing.
Dude, Robert De Niro in that movie.
Robert De Niro is incredible in that movie.
He fucking steals that movie, dude. I love it.
The least Robert De Niro role I've ever seen, and it is absolutely perfect casting.
It's also one of the best movies of all time by default because Daredevil and Superman have a sword fight for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever see Snatch?
No, I don't think so.
One of the earlier Guy Ritchie movies. I gotta have Snatch on here at some point because that movie's fucking awesome. One of my favorite Guy Ritchie movies.
But yeah, Jason Fleming, he's one of our survivors in this, right? He's a really good
Does he
actor.
survive at the end?
Hang on, I'm trying to find him. Who did he play? Was he Stumbo? Yeah, Stumbo survives.
He's
the guy that she slapped. He slapped her, then later she slaps him.
Oh yeah. It's just 4, right? It's the main dude, Claire,
and him.
And Zach Galifianakis. Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis. So I can't say his name today. Zach Galifianakis pulls out the survivorship. That's interesting.
I like how he just like flicks the little ship from the Cracker Jack box.
Yeah, the little submarine. He's just like, nope.
He just flicks it into the ocean.
Let's see. Nick Hobbs was in Wonder Woman. Stunts. Harry Potter.
I also just found out one of the other things we're probably thinking of Jason Fleming and the never-ending list of shit we've seen him in. By the way, if you just scroll through his IMDb, he is as prolific as fucking Nick Cage.
Yeah, he is. He's in everything.
He's in at least 8 movies a year.
It looks every year. Yeah. He's got like 8 or 9 upcoming.
But the one I was thinking of that we're also probably picking up on is From Hell. Did you ever watch From Hell?
Yes, I love From Hell.
Yeah, I love that
You
movie
and I
too.
are the only ones.
He's in that.
But I really like From Hell.
I am such a fucking nerd for Jack the Ripper shit. I'm always down for Jack the Ripper shit, dude.
Did you ever watch that documentary where they think they know who he was?
Maybe.
Where they track him down. They think they've tracked him down. Nick Hobbs is Captain Winters in this. He does a lot of stunts, it turns out, for a lot of things. But he's in Rogue One as the engineer. He's in Doctor Who in 2010 as Mr. Nainby. I don't know. And then he's in this. Like, he doesn't do a whole lot of acting. He's in American Werewolf in London. He's man flying out of bus window.
You know what's interesting is you mentioned Doctor Who. This movie works like a Doctor Who episode when you think about it, because what you're taking into account
he's in
is
OG Doctor Who also in 19 episodes.
Oh, that's cool.
Sorry, I got excited.
But when you take into account like the setup for this movie, its time period, and like what genres it plays with, like with all the horror stuff, this plays out and is similar to like what would be like a really good Doctor Who episode, because you have like a historical setting mixed in with like a genre piece, which is horror in this instance. So this could easily you could easily have a situation where the Doctor pops up on like a haunted submarine and you have a Doctor Who episode.
And is this another one of our famous? He pops in, pokes his head out, shakes his head no, goes back in and leaves.
Sees all the fucking charred bodies and he's I'm out.
Oh man, if I had creativity and time, I would just start a YouTube channel of just that.
Yeah, that is the greatest skit idea you've ever come up with. It's the Doctor Who.
Just inserting him in other movies, just and then leaves.
Just
doesn't even speak. Just no.
Nope. No.
If I'm ever in a movie, I hope to God I am credited as man flying out of bus window. An American Werewolf in London, he's that guy.
Pretty great.
Dude. He's the only person not in Kick-Ass. Hang on.
Right.
Let me check stunts. He's in Dumbo, so there's a chance. Mordecai. Avengers Age of Ultron. Fury. Sherlock Holmes. Oh, no, I said Fury, not Siri. Get out of here. No. Shut up. Shut up, lady. Okay. Sherlock Holmes, Harry Potter. When was Kick-Ass? Like 99?
Kick-Ass?
Yeah.
No, Kick-Ass was like 2008.
Oh. Really? Then
2010.
Yeah, then he was not even in stunts. I'm starting to think this is Kick-Ass 2, Jeff. But how many people are in fucking both movies?
Man. Yeah, let's start talking about some specific scenes. Everyone else in the cast, it falls in line with the "they're in 1,000 things on IMDb that you have seen, and you will not know the guy's name." And that's the rest of the
they're
cast.
all some of the best character actors.
Yeah, they're all great. They're just always character actors in 10 movies a year, and you'll never be able to pick up.
That's the great thing about
is.
being a character actor, though, right? You don't have to deal with the fucking paparazzi or anything, and you're working all the time doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like character actors, kind of one of the best places to be because they can use you in movies, they can use you in TV shows, they might use your voice in video games. Fucking Walter Goggins shows up in video games all the time. And sometimes he's a major character, and sometimes he's just a minor guy that dies early on. Sometimes he's in games as just fucking Walter Goggins. Like, what is that? What is that? Oh, God. Why can I not think of it? It had really mixed reviews when it came out. People either love it or hate it. With the aliens that mimic coffee cups and shit.
Oh God.
Prey.
Yeah, Prey. Is Walton Goggins in Prey?
Straight up Walton Goggins. Like they scanned his face and everything.
I think either people who make video games fucking love Walton Goggins, or he likes him himself, because he was also the big draw for Fallout, and he's amazing in Fallout.
And while I don't really like the movie, but that Tomb Raider remake, he was the villain of that movie.
Yeah, he's good.
So I almost feel like if he does have a passion for video games, that's why he was in that movie.
I think he does, because it is a common thread of him popping up in like all of the adaptations.
Yeah.
You know? And I think he got like a fucking Emmy nomination for Fallout. He's awesome in that.
I heard that show's really good, but I know nothing about Fallout.
You can watch it without knowing anything about the games. It's one of those things where if you've played the games, you'll pick up on some of the like very minor details that are kind of like little Easter eggs. But what makes the show good isn't encapsulated by like being a fan of the games at all. You can just watch it, and it's good. It's really strong. Let's see. So yeah, we're gonna switch back to just kind of talking about some more like general stuff. Probably my only like critique of the movie is they go like a little bit like too ham-fisted with the soundtrack, I would say. Like sometimes the soundtrack gets like a little bit too bombastic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they transition too much into Crimson Tide levels of like intensity with the soundtrack as far as making it like epic, when they want the movie to be kind of like bombastic for the first half, and then when it pivots into being a full-blown horror movie, it's more like subdued. So there's a little bit of like awkward juxtaposition in the soundtrack to me. Did you pick up on any of that when you were watching it?
I agree. In 2002, we're still in the 90s. This is how we make movies in the 90s.
Exactly.
It's very much a 90s movie. Derogatory and not derogatory at the same time. It's got a lot of what some of the best 90s movies have, and a lot of what some of the worst 90s movies has. But I really like I like the story of this, and I like the twist at the end. I also like my favorite thing about this is how they treat the ghost of Captain Winters.
Yes.
Oh my God, this movie. Him just being a smoky, foggy apparition that he lingers long enough for you to know what you saw as the audience, but short enough for the characters to question what they saw.
I also love how there is a few instances in this movie to where they do the like Ari Aster thing, to where sometimes shit happens in the background, and Mike Flanagan does it a lot too, especially with Haunting of Hill House. There's shit happening in the background that they don't draw attention to.
Yeah.
Like at one point they have like a shot that is from underneath the perspective of the characters that are present in the scene, and there's like an apparition above them on the part of the submarine tunneling, that you see it and you're like, wait, was that the fucking ghost? But because they don't draw attention to it, it's meant to. It's like it's more creepy when they don't draw attention to it. I love that. It always works on me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I have to like skim back through, but yeah, there's a shot where I'm pretty sure they're showing you an apparition happening above the characters, because the way this like shadow is formed. I don't remember exactly like when it happens. It's like kind of like the middle point of the movie somewhere, but I love shit like that. Also the way they show Captain Winters when they go outside the submarine, there's a really cool shot where he's like he looks like a fucking like Dark Souls spirit, where he's like translucent.
There's a point where he looks like he's being projected onto moving water.
Yes, yeah. I think
the water.
I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah, when the water kind of stops, he's like in a reflection of the flashlight. When the flashlight moves, he goes away.
It's a cool effect. Like that's the one thing too. This movie has some moments that are genuinely creepy to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just.
But it's not jump scares and stuff. Like it's atmospheric.
Yeah.
Creepiness. The ghost doesn't leap out at you. Right? Like this isn't Alien. Like he just kind of sits there and watches. And that's the most terrifying thing about the ghost in this.
How good is the moment when Claire just turns off the flashlight to let him go by?
Yes.
And it's pitch black. Pun unintended.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Riddick dude.
No bioraptors,
the screen,
though.
Yeah, the screen goes dark. And all you hear is the ghost breathing and walking. And that's all you hear for a solid, like, 10 seconds.
And the thing that is... So
good.
You hear the breathing a lot in the movie once they reveal the ghost. There'll be... If you have subtitles on, there'll be scenes of just the characters there, and you'll hear it, and the subtitle will be heavy breathing in parentheses at the bottom. And anytime it says heavy breathing, the ghost is either audible or visible.
Yeah.
But so like you hear his presence throughout the movie, but one of the most terrifying things, not the most terrifying thing, is just the fact that he just sits there and looks back at you. But one of the most terrifying things, those footsteps implies that he's tangible, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not floating. He's fucking walking around. One of my favorite moments is when she walks in, and in the bunk, it looks like someone's laying there, but you can't see anyone. And then when she shines her light on it, he appears laying there.
And he's just like asleep.
Yeah, and when she moves her light off of him, he disappears with the light.
It's so good. It's really creepy because like that's what makes it creepy is there's so much reservations about what they use. Like you never have a moment where the ghost is just flat out attacking somebody. He's just there, and because of how fucked up the situation was that led to him dying, it's like the malediction thing. It's like a curse, you know. Yeah. He's not a poltergeist that is actively trying to like, you know, pull a like fucking Hereditary and just like attack some people, you know, like. He's just vibing, but man, it's creepy when he's in the bunk. It's really good.
Just vibing.
He's just fucking taking a nap, dude. You know, he had a long day. He just taking a nap.
They shine the light on him, and he just takes a rip from a bong, and then just goes back to playing his guitar.
And man, some of the most like disturbing parts of the movie is what leads to the people that we talked about earlier that are burned to death. How fucked up is it? So because they've had to stay like submerged for too long, everyone has like CO2 poisoning, and what leads to pretty much the entire crew being killed instantly is it a leak from the nitrogen? Are they just having or is it a result of the CO2 excess?
It is hydrogen. Like think Hindenburg.
Okay.
So batteries give off hydrogen gas, and they're having a buildup of hydrogen gas issues with that, plus the CO2 buildup from them breathing. They have to surface every once in a while. They have to vent all the hydrogen. They have to replenish their air, things like that. And they are not able to do that because the ghost is not letting them. He has taken over the sub. In some ways, the sub itself is the ghost because of the things that the ghost does, and the way he affects things. But yeah, it is a buildup of hydrogen, and then when the dude opens the door, he's introducing a rush of oxygen into the room, which hydrogen will not burn without oxygen. So he's introducing oxygen. The guy's yelling at him to close the door. And when the guy switches on the broken flashlight, you get the arc from the broken bulb.
Yep. And
they don't show anything.
And you don't even hear it.
Nope.
It's so good. It's such a great choice.
If you watch after he clicks on the flashlight and it cuts, they're sitting there talking, and then the lights flicker for a moment, and then that's it.
That's it.
That's
it's so
the whole
good
explosion.
They have this close up of like the flashlight, and then
it just cuts motion.
Back to the and then you think you're going to see it, but it's such a great choice to just cut away to them because it's so disturbing. The most devastating line in the whole fucking movie, as you talked about earlier, where he touches like the door.
That and where's our crew?
Yeah, he just says it's warm.
Yeah,
that's such a great fucking line. And then when they walk out, it's like the fucking white phosphorus level in Spec Ops: The Line, dude. Like
it's a blasted heath.
Exactly. Like they're walking through, the entire crew is just burned to a crisp. There's a great shot where earlier on in the movie they show a picture of one of the Navy dude's like daughters.
Yeah.
And then when they show this again after this
it looks like
hydrogen fire has happened, yeah, it looks like a negative. It's such a great shot. But dude, in this setting,
it looks like Pompeii. Now that I think about it, it looks like fucking Pompeii.
Yeah, this setting, when there's no lights, you can, and like, can you imagine the smell of this, dude?
No.
With all of that. It just fucking, it's so terrible. They're walking around trying to find survivors. I think it's like Loomis, who is like, like banging on the hole, like waiting to hear anything back. And there's one person who's like still alive for a second, but that's just somebody that is, getting kind of possessed by the ghost for a second.
Yeah.
Everyone is dead pretty much.
One of the coolest parts of the movie though is when the ghost is tapping out the word back in Morse code.
Super good.
It's so good.
I like the build up too, of half the characters start to believe the supernatural bullshit that's happening, and the other half are people that are refusing to admit it. And I like that scene when they're breaking down the Morse code.
Yeah.
When some of them are like refusing, it's like, this is nonsense, and they're like, you can't deny it. It's fucking Morse code, dude.
Yeah.
It is happening. This is happening. How good is the scene when the I don't know what you'd call it, but the steering wheel thing?
Yeah, the helm.
Yeah, the steering console thing. They aren't able to move it. It just shatters into a million pieces.
Yeah.
The rudder is fixed to a certain angle to turn the ship in a specific angle, and then it perfectly levels.
Yep.
When all of their controls are broken. It's so good. There's so many good little touches like that are so like fucking spooky and good. Like this movie, so underrated. I like.
I also like how after that point, also the submarine is tilted just a little bit. It puts the whole movie at a little bit of a Dutch angle.
Mm-hmm.
It's real interesting and strange to it's just tilted slightly, not enough to obstruct the way you walk or anything, but it makes the curtains and everything hang a certain way and stuff. It's really odd. It really lends itself to like Zach Galifianakis and them talking about like, what if we didn't survive the depth charging. What if like we're dead at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah, I feel like that element where they're talking about like potential twists at the ending of the movie, that feels like an Aronofsky thing to me.
Yeah,
Because that is a true to form type of Aronofsky thing. Let's see, what else can we talk about in here? You want to talk? Why don't you go into more detail like with the twists? Because the twist is really strong.
So the one thing I noticed scrolling through IMDb, I was like, "There's no captain listed in this movie," and then we just have a couple of lieutenants, and then it turns out the captain is dead, and we don't know why or how. Bruce Greenwood and McElhaney have taken over command as the next senior officers. And when he says she was asking about Winters, and he says, "What'd you tell her?" And he said, "The story." I was like, "Oh no, Bruce Greenwood, what did you do?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Why?" So
you were the chosen one.
You were the chosen one. You were my brother. Did he even have air? So anyways, what ends up happening is the twist is they murdered the captain because Bruce Greenwood misidentified the ship as a German ship, but it's actually a British ship that our survivors from the beginning of the movie were on.
Yes.
It's so good.
You know what too is like, this is one of those, once you see it, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But it wasn't apparent to me because it's like a sleight of hand thing to where you're so fixated on the mystery of the ghost that the mystery of the twist is happening right in front of you and you don't pick up on it at all.
Yeah,
at least I didn't.
It distracts you from thinking about the twist because you're so focused on the supernatural aspect. One of the best moments in the entire movie, and I'm pretty sure they use it in the poster, is that moment when Bruce Greenwood sees Captain Winters when they open the curtain and he blows away in the wind from it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment where he sees Winters and he just has this expression on his face. And if you look at the posters for the movie as the submarine is going down, I'm pretty sure that's Bruce Greenwood's face from that moment that is behind the submarine. But
I'm trying to find the posters now. Are they on IMDb?
IMDb has it, I think. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think you're right. Where it's like the shot of the eye.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like part of Bruce Greenwood's face. I'm clicking through real quick on IMDb. Oh, no, that one is her on the DVD. Anyway, yeah. The twist was also cool in that when she is looking up the boats, right? They look similar, but they also look different. But remember, this happened at night, right? When she layers them on top of each other and holds them up to the flashlight, their silhouette was identical.
Yeah. It was an honest mistake. Like
it was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're similar but different until you line up and see the silhouettes line up exactly, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. It's brutal, man.
It's so brutal.
And also you find out like they kill the captain because they get an opportunity to kill him because the captain is trying to save, some of the survivors. But it seems like the person who was especially spearheading the conspiracy and like the cover up was Loomis, because like at the very, very ending of the movie, Bruce Greenwood has lost his shit and is out on the top of the ship after they've been able to emerge again out to the top of the water. And he starts, by the way, when Loomis just fucking yeets outside the boat and then gets impaled on that part of the ship is really fucked up.
Look at the quotes on IMDb. The best quote in the whole thing is did he even have ... air? Just seeing that typed out is so good.
But it's fucked up because he eats himself outside the boat and then gets impaled on part of the some of like the antenna looking things, and then the boat has just been carrying him the entire rest of the movie. It's crazy.
Well, think about it, right? The conspirators are going down with the captain.
Mm-hmm.
The one guy is
what I was gonna.
The one guy is in between the hull, the layers of hull. He's up top, impaled, and Bruce Greenwood shot himself. So the captain took them down with him.
Yep. The part I was going to reference though is the main person kind of like spearheading it all is Loomis, because Bruce Greenwood starts to shoot his corpse on the very top of the ship.
And in that flashback,
he's screaming at him about like all the like the bright ideas or whatever he says like you gave me, and it's
And in the flashback, it's Loomis that fucking craniums the captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Loomis was the real piece of shit, and then Greenwood and the rest of them went along with it.
Isn't it, that Loomis was the piece of shit? And then at that point, it's gone too far. Bryce, Greenwood has to go along with it at that point.
Yeah.
And he seems... So the thing that is tragic about Bryce's character is, say what you want, the guy was a co-conspirator in a murder. He went along with the cover-up and everything else because he's afraid to admit about the mistake he made. Honest mistake. Those silhouettes were identical. So honest mistake, too. Yeah, it cost people their lives and it sucks, but honest mistake.
And you think of the consequences of what if he doesn't identify it and it is the enemy ship,
right?
And then they're all dead.
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the line with his decision, and it's clearly haunting him because the way he reacts to the just like the shit early on, even before like it becomes a full-blown horror movie with the supernatural shit happening, like he's clearly disturbed by something like the entire time.
Yeah.
A lot of it is in Bruce Greenwood's performance, like a lot of like the subtleties of he's putting on like the show of being like the head honcho and fully in control, but he like when there's that moment when he freezes, and Loomis has to kind of like take control of the situation when the hull's breached, because he's in, like I said, he's like it's fucked up like what happened and how he went along with the conspiracy, but he was also in a state of shock at that point because he just accidentally led to 300 people getting killed.
Yeah,
there's a lot of prisoners on that, or a lot of the people that were on the like under the care of Claire.
Yeah. So there's all that, right? And then the tragedy of his character is he snaps, but then later on the outside of the ship, it's like he's trying to come back. Like he's just about to regain his humanity and then shoots himself not once but twice in the head.
I thought that was just kind of like a replay type thing. I thought he just did it.
Oh, just same shot from a different angle. No pun intended.
I think it was just a different angle, kind of like to show their reactions to it. I think it was just like a replay of it.
But yeah, the tragedy of his character is like he made a mistake and he's doing all these bad things. So he's part of it, but at the same time, he's a victim as well. And it seems like he's trying to come back around and then he shoots himself.
It's like it's too much.
Yeah, it's just too much. Like he has broken before the movie even starts. Before we ever see him, he's already broken.
I think what really makes him lead to that decision too is they actually have a chance to be rescued, and he wants no part of living with his demons.
Right.
Like not at all. Also, a spooky moment that is just fucking chef's kiss is he's sitting alongside all of the charred corpses and his shining his shoes.
Yes.
Is such a fucking great little like character moment and just bit of creepiness that I fucking love.
And at this point, like he's acting like a completely different person also. Like no one is home, right? At this point, all the lights are out.
Do you want to know a specific performance that the Greenwood performance in this reminds me of is Sam Neill in Event Horizon.
Yes.
There's
Very
a
much.
lot of those kind of like parallels of.
I would not be
moments
surprised if a lot of his performance wasn't based on that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Because that was what was that, 96?
Yeah, I think it was like 96, 97, kind of in that ballpark. So it did predate this, and with that also, you know, like venturing into like it is
97.
sci-fi, but then also venturing into like horror stuff. Like there's a lot of Event Horizon DNA in this.
Yeah.
Man, it's so fucking good.
The other thing that is tragic for Bruce Greenwood's character is when he has to shoot the German soldier, right? Because now we're back to the beginning of the movie, the part we didn't get to see yet, the part we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Also, his paranoia about the mistake he made, about killing Winters and everything. It's so good when he says, "Stop pretending you don't know," to Claire. She literally doesn't know. Him saying that is what makes her figure out that he's the one that shot her ship down. He's the one that torpedoed the ship.
How good is that moment too? When they're going full quiet mode, and then the record player starts going.
Yes.
And it's one of those creepy like 1930s songs that wasn't creepy at all back then, but because the way our media uses those songs nowadays,
yeah,
is creepy as shit. Such a good moment,
it's
dude.
So good.
I love it. Yeah, this movie is like criminally underrated. I remember liking it a lot when I watched this several years ago. I like it even more now. To be able to like more fully like appreciate it. And man, I'm glad that it held up, because this was one of those things where it's like I love when you can watch a movie with a twist like this, but it's been 15 years since you watched it, so you forget,
right? And
you get to experience the twist all over again. You're just like, oh man, this fucking rules.
Yeah. No, this movie's really, really good. It's got a lot of Event Horizon stuff going on. I'm glad that the World War II period piece aspect was not just an excuse to have them on a submarine. Like, there is a lot of aspects about World War II and what you hear from war vets and everything about what it was like going on in this movie. And, you know, just the idea of torpedoing the wrong ship. Just a ship full of medical patients, a bunch of injured soldiers. Like, think about really the tragedy there. They're injured, but they're alive. They're going home. And then they got torpedoed by the Americans.
And then, it's really brutal.
Friendly fire happens. It's not friendly. They need to change the name.
What also is really like messed up with it is the setting it in World War II leads really well into the more like horror aspects of it, because they have some technology, but it's limited.
Yeah.
And that, like, being on the submarine with 1940s technology versus modern technology is so much scarier. Like, their technology is so fragile that it leads more to like the paranoia and the horror of it, because they have less kind of like things to fall back on that can help them in the situation, you know? Right. And it's like that makes them more helpless.
We don't have a fleet of satellites orbiting the Earth yet.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Super good though. Did you have anything else you want to touch on? I feel like we kind of gone full circle with the cast and like kind of like highlights from it. Was there any other kind of my only qualms with it was with the soundtrack, but it wasn't enough to like ruin the movie by any means.
Right.
It's just like when
it just dates the movie.
Yes, it doesn't hurt at all. It just is, you know, it's just not something that stands out as like helping the movie. It does date it, but it doesn't like hinder the quality at all.
Yeah,
I would say.
No, this is totally worth checking out, and I'm totally glad that you told me about this movie twice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is really
Super good.
I hadn't seen Bruce Greenwood in a while. He hasn't been around in a while, I don't feel like. So I was happy to get more him.
Yeah, last thing I had seen him in was Fall the House of Usher. He's fantastic in, but before then, I guess I had seen him in Doctor Sleep.
The most recent thing I've seen him in is about a year or two ago. I rewatched The Core, which I really like that movie. I know people make fun of it and say it's stupid, but I really like that movie. He has a really good death in that movie too.
Nice. Did you also completely forget that he's apparently the president in Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Because I totally fucking forgot he was.
Is
in
he
Kingsman
really?
Too. Yeah, he plays President of the United States in Kingsman: The Golden Circle.
Is that
which
the
I
movie when you leaned over to me
about.
and said, "I wish Bruce Greenwood was president"?
That sounds like something I would say because I do, I do feel that.
Because he was JFK in 13 Days about the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I love Bruce Greenwood so much.
There's actually a really good shot at the end of that movie where him and the actor playing Bobby, they walk off screen outside, and as soon as they leave the screen, you see their shadows in the sun on the wall continue walking, and their shadows are the silhouette of the real life JFK and Bobby Kennedy. It's really cool.
Nice. I see he is starring in an upcoming podcast series called Primal, which just because it's Bruce Greenwood, like I'll listen to fucking Greenwood in a podcast series.
The guy could read me the phone book. He's got a good voice and he uses it well.
Yeah, so good.
He's another one of those that he always somewhat disappears into his characters, but there's always a little bit of Bruce Greenwood there. Like it's just the right mix every time. I feel like he can play any role, but if you really cast him in a really good role, he fits perfectly. Yeah.
He was also like such a great pick for Pike in Star Trek too.
He has an air about him that if he told you to do something, I feel like you would just do it in real life. Like he's got a really commanding voice. And he's really good at his facial expressions. That moment when he's staring them down and asks the guy if there's any other things he wants to say that he could consider a mutiny. And then the guy just turns and walks away. He's like, yeah, I didn't think so. Like, I'm not going to stare down Bruce Greenwood. Even if I'm just getting the guy a cup of coffee, I'm not going to make eye contact, I don't think.
He has such like an air of charisma about him as far as what makes him so good, especially at these like kind of like military type roles where like in this movie, he isn't the captain. He's the standing captain based on the ranks of who was left after the captain died, but everyone respects him and reacts to him as if he'd been the captain from day one and has been a captain for 20 years because that's just how Bruce Greenwood carries himself. Like he's like he is the fucking alpha in the room when you're talking to Bruce Greenwood.
Right.
Yeah, love him.
Which is what makes his voice acting so good as Batman.
Yeah, because that's the kind of presence you need for that character.
Because of his voice, his voice itself doesn't have a weight to it, but he is able to give it weight when he needs to. When there's moments when he's relaxed and talking to McElhaney, he's just a dude. But then when he's in command, he's in fucking command.
Yeah, like the switch gets flipped.
Yeah, and he's able to do that when he was voicing Batman very well. He was very commanding, especially in Under the Red Hood, which is a really good movie. He's voiced him
in Death in the Family, Young Justice, and Gotham by Gaslight, which is all stuff I've been wanting to check out recently. I guess be another excuse to watch it is just to get more of him as Batman because I'm always.
I never got around to Gotham by Gaslight. I didn't know he voiced him in that.
Yeah, he's apparently the Batman in that, which I was already wanting to watch that, and then knowing that it's a Greenwood one.
That's what I was about to say. It's been on my list, but you just bumped it up telling me that.
Yeah, for sure.
I have nothing against Jason O'Mara. I think he's good as Batman, but Bruce Greenwood,
he's good. He's not my favorite.
Exactly, he's good, but if I'm not getting the Batman, then I'm getting Bruce Greenwood.
Agreed.
If I'm not getting my Kevin Conroy in.
All right. I think it's pretty much everything I've had to say on it. Any other final thoughts before we kind of start our sign-offs for the day?
No, I think that's it. Kind of not a lot to say about this movie because it's one of those that it kind of speaks for itself in the way this movie, it's not a complex movie, but it's made very complexly. It's got complexity to it. It takes place on a submarine, and that doesn't change. You're just on the inside of a submarine the entire time. You get some outside shots of a model that is actually filmed really well. All the shots of the submarine outside look really good and play really good. But this, just like Crimson Tide, this is about the characters, and just like Crimson Tide, this may be, some people may consider this the B-list cast because it's all character actors, which makes the budget cheaper. It's easier on the budget. But these people are still perfectly cast for their roles.
Yeah, they're great.
Just like Crimson Tide, they had perfect casting. So, this movie is really well done for what it is. And I don't know if the way they handled the ghost of Captain Winters was due to budgetary constraints or what was just the vision they had. But I'm really happy with the way they treat the ghost and how you just barely ever see him. But when you see him, you see enough of him. You know what I mean?
It's so minimalistic that it made it like ahead of its time.
Well, it's the same way they made Alien, right? They're very minimalistic with the alien puppet. And
yeah, for sure.
What your imagination is doing is so much worse than what the movie's doing.
Also, in addition to how good the performances are, the atmosphere as the ship degrades is so fucking well done.
Well,
like if
you want to get philosophical and metaphorical about it, the ship is degrading at the same time everyone's like mental and cognitive functions are. Like people are starting to freak out, and that is kind of being shown physically in the condition of a submarine that really shouldn't be running anymore. Like,
yeah,
it's almost Christine at this point. Like
it really is.
It really should not be operating anymore. And when it gets to where they're going, it just stops.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the effect of the possession from the ghost is what gets a lot of them killed, but it also is what saves some of them, because that ship should be fucking done for. It should be fucking dead at the bottom of the ocean. But it's still going.
It just kind of waits for them to leave before it sinks.
So good.
Yeah, it's interesting who lived too, the characters that lived. But
right.
Yeah,
no. They spend just enough time on the supporting characters to where you don't know, like they're never, it's like they spend a lot of time with Zach Galifianakis and with what's the name of the other dude that survives?
Flanagan.
Yeah. What was his character? Like
Dumbo.
Something. Yeah. They spend kind of equal time on a lot of the supporting characters where they don't signal like the obvious ones who are going to end up living. So you're kind of on your toes as far as like, oh dude, the Band of Brothers dude that gets hit in the head by the winch that's flying. That fucking sucks, dude. Like he what's also tragic about like him, he didn't do anything wrong.
Nope.
You know, he was one of the fucking survivors on the ship. But because the ghost isn't in full control, the ghost, it's just like it's like there's so much like spite from it, but it's not acting in like full blown specific control of I'm only going after the people that fucked me over. It's just a vengeful spirit that is, it's targeting the conspirators, obviously, but there's going to be collateral damage because the ghost is just a vengeful spirit that's like acting in a very raw matter. You know,
he was also guilty of like trying to stop the ghost, right? He's trying to stop the submarine. And he's in the way. It's a little Mr. Freeze, to go back to Batman, right? Because the tragedy of the rebooted Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series and all the incarnations pretty much since is he's a victim himself. He's a good guy doing bad things. Like, you want to root for him, but he's doing so many bad things that you can't. And Batman is often conflicted about taking him down, but he's so emotionally dead, but angry at the same time that he doesn't see what he's doing as wrong. And there's so many instances in Batman the Animated Series, you know, as an example, where people that just step out of his way, he leaves them alone. People that actively try to stop them, he takes them out. And if people step aside, he just walks past them. He doesn't even look at them. He doesn't even acknowledge them. And that's kind of the way I feel this ghost is doing, right? He's got his mission. He didn't get to go down with his ship, was the what they were talking about. He's taking the ship back to where it happened, and then back where the incident happened and where he died. And all these people are trying to interfere with what the submarine is doing. Anyone that has the ability to take control back of the submarine and tries, he takes them out. The people that are not interfering with that, they're the ones that kind of survive. Like, she was innocent, so she gets gone. The other dude was not part of the conspiracy, and he wasn't mechanically able to stop the submarine from doing what it's doing. He's along for the ride. He survives. Zach Galifianakis has some ability to do those things, but his job was to man the sonar station. So he's not involved in trying to turn or trying to raise the submarine at all. So he survives. Like, it's interesting how it works. He's going after the conspirators that killed him, and anyone that gets in his way and tries to stop. You can say the ghost is responsible for burning up the crew. It was going to happen to the people trying to fix the hydraulic lines and retake control of the rudder. But it was really the dude that came in and opened the door as the accident was happening that killed everyone, right? Like, the ghost was going after these people because they can stop him. The dude opening the door and giving the fireball a path is what killed the crew.
Yeah, that was almost more like a freak accident versus like a conscious effort on part of the ghost.
Yeah.
Like, the ghost isn't,
like you said, like, collateral damage. These people have to go.
Yeah.
They're trying to interfere with what I'm doing. These people have to go. But that guy opening the door at that time, wrong place, wrong time.
Man, that scene does so well.
That scene is so chilling, dude.
I was floored at the restraint to not even, because 99 times out of 100, you have a movie coming out in 2002, around the time this came out, you're getting a crappy 90s style CGI shot of the fire looking like a PS2 graphic taking out the people. And when they just show you the spark, the very beginning of the spark, and then cut to a completely unrelated scene, and then you just see the after effect.
It's like we stepped into a different movie when they stepped through that doorway.
Yeah, it's, dude, it
in a good way, not derogatory.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, I know I've said that a lot, but the decisions this movie makes are pretty much always the perfect decision to elevate, like, the atmosphere, the tension. It's just a really well executed script, and adding these flavors of like blending it more into being a horror movie.
And it's another,
and just the right amount.
It's another example of what is wrong with Hollywood right now. I don't know what the budget on this movie was. It wasn't $250 million. It wasn't $300 million. The fact that a movie has to hit $1 billion to be profitable nowadays is insane.
Agreed.
You don't need to inflate the budget that high to have a good movie. This movie kind of got fucked by the studio, like you were talking about, with the limited release and everything. Nowadays, if this movie was made exactly the way it was, and it got limited release in theater, and then went to Amazon Prime or Netflix or something immediately after theaters, it probably would have found a following on streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's what people are doing now. Movie theaters are in turmoil. People are staying home. People are always looking for something to watch. There's something new to watch all the time. This movie would have done completely different release today if it was made exactly the same way. So it's just unfortunate, But
I also do appreciate Tui though sticking to his guns and like not wavering on his vision for the movie, because even if it just amounted to you don't see the victims of the hydrogen fire, that is such a huge part of like the core of the movie when it fully flips into what the movie is for the last like half of it. It's such an important scene for it, and like just the devastation like left in the wake of this ghost is one of the strongest aspects of the movie. So I'm glad that he held the movie together as it is, because when you stumble upon it, it is a like legitimate hidden gem.
Yes,
to me. I'm glad it held up as well. Like I like this even better now, and if I remembered the full like construct of the way this movie was made, I would have picked it. I would have picked it myself sooner, because it's a really it like it is one of those types of movies that I feel really falls in line with like our core values for Screenplay Rewind, as far as like what we're looking for in these movies. Yeah. As far as they hit a lot of the things that you and I specifically like, as far as like it's all about the atmosphere. It's got great actors.
It knows when to show you and when to not.
It has great restraint. They're like they always walk the tightrope perfectly as far as like what we're looking for in this caliber of movie in this genre. So
you know what other movie does that? Good.
What's that?
Pitch Black.
Yeah, we gotta have Pitch Black on the show eventually.
It's on my short list, I promise. My short list is not short. But yes, thank you for bringing this to my attention, because I'd never heard of this movie, and I really like this movie, and I feel like it is one of those that you'll always remember it was good, but until you watch it again, you're not going to remember exactly how good it is. I do that with The Losers a lot. I always remember it's a really, really good movie, and it's always so much better than I even remember it being when I go back to it.
That's the best feeling, when you're caught off guard by something you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Is it really like fuels like your appreciation for it. Like you grow to like it even more when you're just like, damn, this is even better than I remember.
Good movie.
Good movie. Good. Go watch again.
What the fuck? WTF. Good movie.
So good. WTF exclamation point.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a wrap for our coverage of Below. Thank you for picking it, because I having a blast watching this again. This is a weird moment,
because you brought it up, but I picked it. You brought
and
it
then you forgot that I brought it up.
You brought it to the table, and I stuck a fork in it.
Yeah, there's
a metaphor in there somewhere. It's too late. All right. It's too late for this. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I should have drank that fucking Red Bull I talked about earlier. If you have enjoyed the show, you can always
11 p.m. Red Bull is a good idea for a Twitter account. Just the most unhinged tweets.
We always wonder about if we could. We didn't decide to think about if we should. If you have enjoyed the show, you can always follow us on whichever platform you found us on and subscribe there. If you caught us on YouTube, be sure to like the video and subscribe for further content. Any ratings or reviews on any of those platforms is always a huge help. Please share us out to your friends. You can kind of browse back through our back catalog. At this point, we've covered a little bit of fucking everything.
Yep.
Some of it picked by us, some of it not. It's fucking cursed goddamn maledictions that are friends and family month selections. Look it up. And Ron, are you ready to learn about what we're covering next time?
I am.
Okay, I am pulling a U.
Okay.
And I am going to give us a theme for the month.
Oh.
And I know this is coming out the last week of January, whatever the fuck, like the next couple of episodes are going to have a theme. All right, we're going to have another World War II movie with supernatural aspects that I've been wanting to cover for a while, and this feels like a good time to bring it up. Let's cover Overlord.
Ooh.
I feel like Overlord is a good kind of double feature with Below.
Ooh, yes, please. That's another one? Wolfenstein. Not Wolfenstein the movie.
Definitely not Wolfenstein. Definitely not.
We totally were not able to get the rights to Wolfenstein the movie.
You know how we were talking earlier, how this was a movie like you forget until you watch it again just how good it was. I feel like you and I are gonna have that exact same reaction to Overlord, because you and I both really fucking liked it. But at this point, it's been 7-8 years or whatever.
The only time I saw it was in the theater when we went to go see it.
Same. So I have forgotten 95% of it, if not more. So it's going to be a whole new experience again for me. And I remember liking it a lot. And I think it pairs well with Below, with the theming, with the World War II stuff, with the, you know, like blending of some horror elements. So
totally.
Check it out.
I'm into it.
I'm excited to watch it again. One of the first movies with Kurt Russell's kid.
Vern Gorman too,
it is,
right?
I think so. It is available on Paramount Plus through their subscription service, and available to rent on Amazon and Plex.
Okay, cool.
Might also be on Apple. I actually found out, I hadn't seen this before. I was able to rent Below through Apple, even though it wasn't showing on Just Watch. So Just Watch is apparently not 100% accurate. So it could also be on shit we're not saying. Just if you only have like one service, or you only like, if you only like renting through like Apple, like for instance, you can always check it out to see if it's on there too. But yeah, I'm excited to watch it again.
Yes.
Man,
I can't wait.
Yeah, can't wait to check it out again. Yeah. Anything else, Ron, before we say goodbye for the day?
No, I think that is all.
Ron, that's a whale, right?
I don't fucking know. That's one of the best lines in the whole movie. They both look at him. I don't have any fucking idea, whatever it is he says.
Love it. Have a good night, everybody.
I think I take it back. I don't think I'm doing anything tonight.
You're good, dude.
I think I'll put it up on Sunday. Work on it tomorrow. Yeah, that's totally my fault. I apologize.
You got to send the apology to Bobby in advance.